guys, it is Kieran from RedDevilWeekly, and we are back tonight to preview United's game against Crystal Palace, the second one in the matter of days. We last played them on Tuesday, a 3-0 win, hoping for a similar result on Saturday afternoon. 3 o'clock kickoff again, I think for the second time in a row for Manchester United, something that we didn't have last season. Hallelujah for the Champions League. Hopefully, I'm not saying that just for the first part of the season, and we're not back in that horrible Thursday night competition in a few months. Hopefully, we're in the Champions League knockout stages. We're a long way from that, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the Premier League. Before we get into it, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Really enjoy hearing what you guys have to say, so leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And also, feel free to like and subscribe if you do enjoy this sort of content. But we'll get straight into it. We're not going to dilly-dally today. We're going to be on the ball, and we're going to talk about our opponents, Crystal Palace. Now, this season, I think they've started all right. 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, and actually, when I had a look at their results, the 2 losses were against sides that probably you'd expect them to lose to. Away to Aston Villa, 3-1 defeat, and a home to Arsenal, Arsenal side, they're obviously looking to challenge for the league, and they actually need a penalty to get past Crystal Palace in a 1-0 win. So, you know what, this season, overall, they've actually had a fairly decent start, I think, by their standards. Yes, the last couple of games haven't potentially gone as well as they hoped. A 0-0 draw in their last league game against Fulham, and obviously a 3-0 defeat in the Carabao Cup. But actually, I think overall their start, I think they'll be fairly happy with it. So they're 10th in the league, obviously 8 points, only 1 point behind us, and apparently we've had an absolute nightmare start. So, for me, Palace being 1 point behind, is it a cause of concern? It's only 6 games in, but I think really you have to focus on, how Palace have had a fairly decent start to the season. And with the injuries they've had as well, they've had a few big injuries at the start of the season. Obviously Elise, Edouard as well now having an injury. So they've had a few, big injuries to their squad. Roy Hodgson has talked about it before. I think he was talking about it before the Palace game as well. So he's had a lot of injuries to contend with, and it's not an easy job. So I commend Roy Hodgson for what he's done so far. Hopefully he doesn't get a positive result tomorrow, but I wish him well for the rest of the season, because I do like Roy Hodgson. I know what happened with England, it didn't end well, it ended quite sourly, but you know what, he's always come across as a fairly decent bloke, and I actually think that he's a pretty good football manager. He's got pedigree, taking Fulham to the Europa League final. I think it was called, I'm not sure it was called the UEFA Cup final or the Europa League final back then, but just being beaten by Atletico Madrid, but taking Fulham to a European final cannot be sniffed at. So he's got pedigree. He has managed Liverpool as well, which does put him down in my estimations a little bit. But listen, as a football fan in general, fair play Roy Hodgson, the age he is, the oldest manager in the league, to come back to Palace and do what he's doing, you've got to give him a bit of credit. And in terms of his side, what's going to go for him at Old Trafford, well, he has got a few players that will be coming back into the starting 11. Because in the EFL Cup game, we can't take too much from that, in my opinion. I think 3-0 defeat was probably the right result. I think Palace didn't really show up that well, or show up at all, to be honest. They were quite passive, especially in the first half, and we played well. We've got to give credit to ourselves at some point. We actually played some good football, which is the first time all season I can really say that. So, one thing for Palace is their defence will be a lot stronger. The defence that started for them, had the likes of Nathaniel Klein in it, obviously had no Gahey or Joachim Andersen in that back line, and you'd expect both of them to make an appearance to start at Old Trafford tomorrow. So, they're going to be a lot stronger at the back. And obviously Roy Hodgson teams pride themselves on being very difficult to break down. And that's something that we're going to have to contend with on Saturday afternoon. And obviously Anderson's their captain. He's their blood and thunder at the back, if you like. And he's a big part of what makes them successful, what makes them tick. So it's a big miss for them, but obviously he's coming back into the first 11 refreshed and ready, I'm sure, to seek some revenge. Obviously Eze as well, coming back into the starting 11. He was someone who, when he came on, looked a bit of a bright spark, as we know how good he can be. He's been brilliant for Palace for the last couple of seasons now. So Eze coming back will be a massive plus for them. Obviously, with the injury to Edouard, I think he'll be out of the game. Probably looking at, maybe Mateta or Schlupp going forward. And listen, you look at them, and for a team that has lost arguably their best player in Wilfried Zaha, to still be, 10th and have started the season at least not not terribly, is you got to give them credit, because there are a lot of these teams that lose their kind of star talismanic figure and just drop off a cliff. But actually, they have got some quality in that team, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do on Saturday afternoon. But we talked a bit about Palace. They'll be hoping for revenge, and they will have a stronger defence, so it'll be harder to break them down. In terms of Manchester United then, I'm going to give you my predicted 11 going into the game. We have had some news in between the Palace game, of course. We've had news. It's never a slow news day with Manchester United these days. And the breaking news today, as I'm recording this on Friday, is that Antony is going to be returning to training. And actually, Ten Hag said he'd be available for selection tomorrow. Now, do I think Antony's going to be selected tomorrow? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Spoiler alert. But I don't think Antony's going to be picked, especially considering he's not trained for the last 2 weeks. And I think that would be the right decision as well. But yeah, breaking news. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section. Do you think it's the right decision, wrong decision? Let me know your thoughts. But Antony is available for selection. Bad news, obviously Reguilon, we knew he picked up an injury against Bayern Munich. He looks to be out for an extended period. Lisandro Martinez now, we've heard, is going to be out for up to 2 or 3 months, which is a massive blow, especially just as we've got Varane back. I was hoping we'd have our two best centre-backs next to each other, but unfortunately, we can't have nice things at Manchester United, so I should have known. I should have known better, really, shouldn't I? So Martinez is out for 2 to 3 months now. But obviously, we have had some players coming back from injury, and that will reflect in my starting 11. So here's my starting 11. I've gone with Onana in goal. I actually thought he had a fairly decent last couple of games. Since the Bayern game, he's actually done well. Obviously getting a clean sheet against Burnley and a clean sheet against Palace as well. So 2 clean sheets. I'm happy for him. Hopefully he can build some more momentum. I've gone with Dalot, Varane, Lindelof and Amrabat as the back 4. We saw Amrabat playing at fullback, kind of inverting when we were going forward on Tuesday night. And actually, he had a fairly good debut. I've got to say, he did look good. So hopefully he can do the same job against Palace 3 days later. Casemiro and Mount, I thought they both had brilliant games. Casemiro obviously scoring his goal. Mount was all over the place in a good way in the first kind of 60 minutes before he got hooked. So hopefully, if that was a performance of him just getting back to full fitness, then when he's back to full fitness, hopefully we can really see an effective Mason Mount. The Mason Mount that we saw win the Champions League with Chelsea. I think he'll go with Fernandes instead of Mesbury. He'll be doing a direct swap into that number 10 role. Marcus Rashford on the left-hand side. We need Rashford to start firing. We need him to start firing. A bit of a poor start to the season for him, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he takes on the challenge of Palace. But we need to see some confidence. We need to see goals and assists. Output is what we need to see from Rashford. And so far he's disappointed, but one spark and one bit of confidence, and hopefully we'll be back to the player we saw last season. I've gone with Garnacho on the right hand side. Pellistri was also in the discussion for this, but I have gone with Garnacho. I thought he was great against Palace. Obviously he got his goal as well, so hopefully he's got a bit of confidence from that, and I think he'd be the ideal person to start on that right hand side. And then Rasmus Højlund has got 1 goal, hasn't scored a Premier League goal for us, so hopefully tomorrow is when we see the big Dane break his goal-scoring duck in the Premier League. He nearly did it against Brighton, or ever so close, the ball just went out of play. Hopefully he can get a bit luckier in this one. So let me know your thoughts on my predicted 11 in the comment section down below. And I'm going to give my score prediction. Then we'll wrap it up for today. Let me know your score predictions if you've got this far in the comment section down below. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win. It's going to be the same as last season. In February, we played them and we got away with a 2-1 win. Casemiro got sent off in that game. The famous strangle on Will Hughes, got him sent off. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen again, but the scoreline repeating itself, I wouldn't mind at all. At this stage of the season, we've been playing poorly. I want to see a good performance, don't get me wrong, but I want the points as well. And Palace can be a very tricky customer. As I said, if you look at their results against Arsenal and Villa, yes, Villa kind of ended up winning fairly comfortably, but Arsenal need a penalty to win the game. And by all accounts, it was a bit difficult to break Palace down. So, if that's the case, it's going to be a difficult night for us if we don't have our shooting boots on, if we're not incisive. So I'm hoping we can produce a good performance. I'm hoping we can have control in the midfield areas, create loads of chances, and win the game. Simple as that. Football's a simple game. So I'm going with 2-1. I'm going with Rashford and Højlund to get on the score sheet. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. But until then, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you then. Cheers.